Hello and welcome. This is me, Goswami, welcoming you all in a live interactive session. And this session you're watching on our YouTube channel, which is NCERT Official. So today we bring a class 8 science subject for you, and the topic that we are going to cover is reaching the age of adolescence. And to elaborate this chapter to us, we are having in the studio Mrs. Rekha Chaudhary, who is PGT Biology at PM Shri Kendriya Vidyalaya number 1, Delhi Kent. Ma'am, a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so before we start this session with Rekha ma'am, before she elaborate the chapter to us, here's a piece of information for all our viewers, and that is, if you have any question for us, if you ask any query from us, so all you need to do is just call us on our number which is flashing on your screen, and that is 8800440559. With that, you can directly mail us at dth.class8@ciet.nic.in. Even if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, which is NCERT Official, so you can directly ask your questions in the live chat box. So without any delay, let's start this interesting and important chapter, which is named as Reaching the Age of Adolescence. Ma'am, before we start this chapter here, I just want to know from you, and I'm curious to know that adolescence, it's a very complicated age, as we all know. So what is the difference between a teenager and a person who just entered and known as an adolescent? So what is the difference between these two things, and how you can elaborate this? Please explain us.
Thank you so much, Neil. Very good afternoon to one and all. This is really very interesting topic for all of us, because it is very important to understand all these terms: teenage, adolescence, puberty. So, and we must know all the changes that are going to take place in a body of a teenager or an adolescent. So let's let's start our presentation part so that we can elaborate all these topics. So here you can see class 8 science, reaching the age of adolescence. And from the day one, when a baby is born, it begins to grow. As we all know this, the various changes that takes place in the body are the part of growing up processes. So the growth of a body starts from the day one when the baby is born. But now what actually adolescence is, the time period when body undergoes some changes leading to reproductive maturity. This is called adolescence, and it starts from 10 to 13 years of age, and it will end at 19 years. So reaching the age of reproductive maturity, that age of this is called adolescence. Between the age of 11 years and 19 years, children are known as adolescents, and during this period, adolescents are also known as teenagers. So we can say that there is no difference between these two terms, adolescents and teenagers. Basically, this is the age group of 11 to 19 years of adolescence.
Okay.
So what puberty is actually? During this stage of adolescence, the body undergoes several changes and becomes capable of reproduction. These changes mark the onset of puberty, or we can say that beginning of puberty. So what are the various changes that are going to have in a body of an adolescent during this puberty? Physical changes, physiological changes, psychological changes, sexual maturity, reproductive phase. In male 12 year onwards is there, and in female it will be 10 to 50 years old of female age. The important changes that takes place during puberty are increase in height, change in body shape, voice change, increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands, development of sex organs, and reaching mental, intellectual and emotional maturity. All these important changes are going to take place in a body of a teenager during adolescence or puberty. So let's see the first change, increase in height. By the age of 11, a boy reaches about 80% of his height, and a girl reaches about 88% of her height. Initially, girls grow faster than boys. By about 18 years of age, both boys and girls reach their maximum height. But is there any connection of height with the parents? Yes, generally the height is similar to the parents because it depends on the genes inherited from the parents. Next change is change in body shape. During puberty, boys have broader shoulders and wider chest due to faster growth of muscles. In girls, the breast begins to develop and their region below the waist becomes wider. So here you can see it diagrammatically also. Voice change. During puberty in boys, the voice box, which is known as larynx, here you can see the voice box is present in this part. This becomes larger and it is seen as a swelling in the throat. It is also known as Adam's apple, and the voice of boys becomes deep and harsh. In girls, the voice box is smaller, so such Adam's apple is not visible in girls generally. Their voice is highly pitched. Later their voice becomes normal. Increased activity of sweat and sebaceous gland. During puberty, the secretions of sweat and sebaceous gland, which is also known as oily gland, increases, and many teens get acne and pimples on their face. So please don't get worried if you got any pimple or some oily patches on your face during this stage. It is just a normal change that is going to take place in your body during this stage. Development of sex organ. This is really very important and the most vulnerable part for the adolescents because less education or less awareness can harm them. During puberty in boys, the testes and penis, the sexual part, the male reproductive part, develops completely and start producing sperms. In girls, the ovaries, the female reproductive part, develops completely and start producing eggs. So here you can see some GIFs present on the presentation. So development of sex organ takes place during this stage. Next is reaching mental, intellectual and emotional maturity. During puberty, boys and girls, mental, intellectual and emotional development takes place. They become more independent, self-conscious and their way of thinking changes with time. So, these all are some emotional changes that can occur during puberty. Mood swings and intense emotions and reactions you can see in the adolescents, confusion, uncertainty, indecisiveness. So, they were not able to take the right decisions at the perfect time. Feeling more pressure from peers to fit in. To fit in means how to get the best personality in front of others. Changes in relationships with others, with friends as well as with relatives. More sensitive to the world around them. Feeling self-conscious about their appearances in public parties or in public areas. Confusion about sexual feelings, about gender, opposite gender or same gender and self-identity as well. Increased desire to spend time alone. So these all are the emotional changes that can occur during puberty in boys and girls. Now a very important thing, how you can help your child navigate the emotional roller coaster of this puberty. How you can help your students, your child, your son, your daughter to go through all these emotional changes that we have discussed just now. Number 1, talking and listening. Talk openly. Encourage them to ask questions. Listen to them and ensure that you will listen if they need to vent feelings. Share your own experiences if they are appropriate for them. Next is allow them time and space as well. Kindly let them have private time and space to process all these things they are experiencing and feeling. Let them know you are there for them if they need to talk, but please try not to pressure them to do so. Manage your expectations. It is really important to maintain rules and boundaries during this time, but please make sure your expectations of them develop gradually. They will need time to adapt to new responsibilities and expectations of them. Kindly encourage healthy habits. Dealing with the emotional and physical changes of puberty, it is much easier if they have good sleep pattern and healthy diet. Encourage and model all sorts of self-care to them. So all these steps will help your child to navigate this emotional roller coaster ride of puberty. Now let's talk about some secondary sexual characters which are also going to have in the body during this adolescence age. Let's see the difference first between the girls and the boys for secondary sexual characters. Girls, height and weight increases, same is there in the boys. In girls, fatty and subcutaneous tissue will develop, but on the other hand, in boys, muscle development will take place. In girls, hips will broaden, and in boys, shoulder will broaden. In girls, hair grows in armpits and pubic area. In boys, hair will grow in the armpits, pubic area, and facial hair also start appearing. In girls, voice becomes shrill, but in boys, voice breaks takes place due to lengthening of vocal cord and enlarging of larynx. In girls, breast development take place, but in boys, size of the penis will increase. All these are the secondary sexual characteristics in boys and girls. Secondary sexual characters, these are the changes controlled by chemical substances called hormones, which are produced by endocrine glands. So, is there any difference between a male hormone and a female hormone? Because there are so many changes between the secondary sexual characters for a girl and a boy. Yes, it is different. The male hormone which controls secondary sexual character is called testosterone. On the other hand, the female hormone which controls secondary sexual characters is called estrogen. The male hormone is produced in the testes and the female hormone is produced in the ovary. Now, there are some other endocrine glands as well which produces other hormones. Let's have a look at them as well. First of all, we must know endocrine glands produce chemical substances which are known as hormones, and it controls different functions in the body. Let's see some of the endocrine glands that we have in our body. Pituitary gland that controls growth and production of hormones by testes and ovary. Thyroid gland which produces thyroxine hormone, and its deficiency causes goiter, which means swelling of throat. Adrenal gland, it produces adrenaline hormone. It helps the body to adjust to stress when we are angry or worried. It is also known as emergency hormone. Pancreas, it produces insulin and its deficiency causes diabetes. You can also see the parts where these endocrine glands are present. Next endocrine gland is testes, which produces testosterone and controls the production of sperms and secondary sexual characters in males. Ovary, which produces estrogen and controls the production of eggs and secondary sexual characters in female. Please note that testes is available or present in males only, whereas ovary is present in females only. All other endocrine glands are present in both male and female. Now, let's see some of the physical changes. First of all, We will start with boys that they expect during the puberty all the physical changes. Number 1, growing. Boys can have growth spurts during puberty and they become taller. Hair. Body hair may become thicker. Hair develops under the arms and around the genital part. Facial hair may grow and head hair may become greasy as well. Voice. As the larynx and vocal cords grow, there will be change in the voice as well. Skin. Hormonal changes can cause skin problems like acne, oily or dry skin. Sweat. Increased activity of sweat glands, this will make sweating increases and this can cause body odor. So personal hygiene is very important to overcome this. Shape. Muscle development will take place during this stage and penis and testicles will grow and change. Erections. This is really very important to get aware with this. During this stage, the erection of penis will start. When boys start to have sexual thoughts and feelings, they may start to get vertical erection of the penis. When increased blood flow to the penis makes it erect and hard. Wet dreams. You must know this term, what actually wet dreams are for boys. During puberty, the body starts to produce semen. Sometimes the semen leaks out at night, which may be caused by the dreams of sexual nature. Such dreams are known as wet dreams. So you can see it in the presentation as well. Acne, facial hair, voice change, muscle development, mood swings and genital growth. All these physical changes are there for boys to expect during puberty. Now we will see some of the physical changes for girls to expect during puberty. Growing. Girls can have growth spurt during puberty and they also become taller. Shape. Girls can become more rounded around the hips and legs. Breast development will take place. They will grow, sometimes not at the same rate as each other, which is very normal. Hair. Body hair may become thicker and hair development will take place under the arms and in the pubic area. Sweat. Sweating increases and this will again causes body odor and personal hygiene is really very important at this stage. Hormonal changes can cause skin problems like acne, oily or dry skin. Discharge. So here you can see one important term, discharge and periods. They may get a thin, clear, transparent or whitish fluid in their underwear, which causes from the vagina and helps to prevent the infection. Periods. As the uterus starts to prepare for the reproduction, the menstrual cycle or the monthly cycle begins, which means girls will have bleeding from their vagina every month. We will discuss this in our presentation later on. So, hair growth, breast budding, pimples or acne, periods, height spurt and mood swings. All these physical changes are there for girls to expect during puberty. What happens during puberty? So this chart will show all these changes, physical changes, and is there any difference? Yes, you can see physical changes and emotional changes. Some changes are similar and some are different. It depends on the reproductive organ they have. Growth is there for both. Facial hair growth is there for males. Breast development is there for girls. First periods and presence of vaginal discharge is there for girls, but enlargement of genitals and first ejaculation, or we can say that erection or wet dreams, are there for boys. In boys, this begins at 11 to 14 years of old age, but in girls it begins at the age of 11 to 12 years. So emotional changes are almost same, mood swings, being more sensitive, feeling self-conscious about physical changes, and feeling differently about peers. All these changes, emotional changes, are going to have in boys as well as in girls. Now we will talk about reproductive phase in humans. The capacity for reproduction starts at puberty, as we have discussed it earlier. It lasts for a longer time in males than in females. In females, the capacity for reproduction starts at puberty and lasts for 40 to 50 years. In females, the ovary produces one egg every month and the uterus prepares itself to receive the fertilized egg. Its wall becomes thick with blood vessels. If fertilization does not take place, then the uterus wall breaks and comes out of the vagina as blood and mucus. This cycle takes place once every month, and this cycle is known as menstrual cycle. This process is known as menstruation. The beginning of menstrual cycle is called menarche, and when menstrual cycle stops at 40 to 50 years of a female, it is called menopause. So this is we have in our this session. Is there any question? Kindly let me know.
Definitely, the way Rekha ma'am elaborate everything to us, that's very good. I mean, she elaborate and explain everything very beautifully. But if we look at this chapter, like the reaching the age of adolescence, even if we talk about this, ma'am, the first question that I would like to have from you, and that is that we have talked about a lot of hormonal changes, hormonal imbalance we have talked about. Even we have talked about how your physical appearance got changed during this age. But what are the emotions and how you actually overcome from those thoughts, those mood swings, because it's absolutely completely similar between boys and girls.
Yes.
So how you can overcome from that? What's your suggestion, and how you can actually say, okay, that's how you can overcome from your mood swings, that's how you can have a good mood when you are in your adolescence?
Yes, thank you so much for asking this question. See, emotional development is like this कि जब तक हम अपने बच्चों से एज अ टीचर और एज अ पेरेंट बात नहीं करते हैं उनके साथ, जैसे हमने जब स्टेप्स हमने देखे कि जो हमें करने चाहिए अपने बच्चों के लिए ताकि वो इस इमोशनल रोलर कोस्टर राइड से ओवरकम कर सकें, सबसे पहला स्टेप था टॉक ओपनली. जब तक हम अपने बच्चों से इस बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं, इसके लिए एक टीचर हमें सहारा दे सकते हैं. पेरेंट्स को थोड़ा सा ओपनली होकर बात करनी पड़ेगी इन सभी चेंजेस के बारे में. किसी एक सिंगल पेरेंट को भी बात करनी हो सकती है. अगर गर्ल है तो मदर बात कर सकते हैं. बॉय के साथ जनरली हम जानते हैं कि एज अ फादर काफ़ी कनेक्शन रहता है. We have to talk openly and we have to suggest some ways to them. How can they adjust all these changes? See, we cannot control all these changes because it is a part of development. It is because of the outcome of that hormones that are releasing in our body, like testosterone in male and estrogen in female. So all these development or all these changes will take place. It will definitely take place. Some girls may feel anger very soon, they may have mood swings, they may irritate very soon. Some boys may feel some good feelings about friends, they may make some enemies very fast and they will like कि जल्दी से गुस्सा हो जाएंगे, जल्दी से चिढ़ जाते हैं हमारे बच्चे इस एज में. मैं 11 से 18-19 साल की बात कर रही हूँ. तो इसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे हमारे मूड स्विंग्स आएंगे. तो पेरेंट्स को यहाँ पर समझने की ज़रूरत है कि अभी राइट नाउ इस स्टेज पर बच्चा जो है वो अपनी मर्ज़ी से ना करके उन हॉर्मोन्स के इफ़ेक्ट में ये बहुत ज़्यादा एक्स्ट्रा हो जाता है. सो उस टाइम पर बच्चे के साथ देने की ज़रूरत है, बच्चे को सपोर्ट करने की ज़रूरत है, बच्चे के साथ बात करने की ज़रूरत है. और सिर्फ आपको नहीं बोलना है, उनकी पहले परेशानियों को सुनना भी है. जब तक आप उन बच्चों के साथ बात नहीं करेंगे, उनकी परेशानियों को सुनेंगे नहीं, तब तक ये प्रॉब्लम रहेगी.
बिल्कुल बच्चों से बात करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, उनके इमोशंस, उनके मूड स्विंग्स को समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि वो भी जो अपने मूड स्विंग्स हैं या अपने हार्मोन्स हैं उनके इन्फ्लुएंस में ये सब चीज़ें कर रहे हैं। मैम, बट एक आखिरी क्वेश्चन इस सेशन को रैप अप करने से पहले कि आज हम वर्ल्ड मेंटल हेल्थ डे सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, इट्स 10th of October। तो जो पेरेंट्स हैं, जो टीचर्स हैं या जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो हमारा ये सेशन देख रहे हैं, उनकी तरफ से आपका एक छोटा सा मैसेज।
जी देखिए, ऑन द ओकेजन ऑफ वर्ल्ड मेंटल हेल्थ डे ऑन 10th of October 2024, I would like to say all the teachers and parents kindly support your student or children at this age. They really need you. Maybe they will not say this thing to you personally that we need you, because again it is emotional changes, but actually all these changes, all the physical changes and emotional changes are affecting their mental health, and it is really important to have their good mental health for overall development. So kindly support them, kindly guide them properly, and if they need some counseling, please do that. Please talk to them, give them time and space. So that's the message that I want to give to parents as well as teachers.
Definitely, you can help your children, you can help your students by supporting them to be their backbone. But now, what's we have for today, because still 3 sessions are left for today from us, and let's take a look what you have and what's coming to your way after this session. So, from 3:30, mathematics you will study, and the topic that we are going to cover is direct and inverse proportion. From 4 to 5, there is a 1-hour online training program जहाँ पर हम बात करेंगे मीडिया साक्षरता कौशल विकसित करना, और 5 बजे हम जुड़ेंगे आपके साथ सहयोग सेशन के साथ, जो कि होगा हमारे आज के दिन का आखिरी सेशन, जहां पर हम बात करेंगे बिल्डिंग रेजिलियंस अमंग स्टूडेंट्स। फिलहाल के लिए तो इस सेशन में इतना ही। मुझे यानी कि नीव गोस्वामी को आप दीजिएगा इजाज़त। इसी के साथ साथ हमारी एक्सपर्ट जिन्होंने रीचिंग द एज ऑफ एडोलेसेंस हमें इतने अच्छे से समझाया, यानी कि रेखा मैम को भी दीजिएगा इजाज़त, और अपना रखिएगा बहुत बहुत ख्याल। हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।